Ever snatch your friend's man thinking you've hit the jackpot, only to realize you've made the worst mistake of your life? Let me tell you the story of Zara and Gina. Zara, the girl every wealthy parent warned their children about. Zara came from the edge of the village, where the mud houses leaned under the sun and the smell of roasted corn mixed with smoke from firewood. Her father, Maziokeke, was strong but quiet. He sold firewood from dawn to dusk. His hands were rough, his back bent from years of carrying heavy loads. Her mother, Mama Z, was lively and kind. She roasted corn by the roadside, selling it to villagers who passed by. Zara grew up watching her parents work harder than anyone she knew. Every coin mattered. Every grain of corn counted. There was no room for laziness in her house, but there was room for brains. From a young age, Zara loved learning. She memorized every story her parents told her. She practiced writing letters on scraps of paper. She counted money carefully and sometimes helped her mother calculate profits from the roasted corn. Her intelligence was noticeable to everyone in the village. People would say, "That girl, she will go far." When the scholarship opportunity came, it was as if the village had been waiting for her. Bright Star Academy, the big school in the next town, offered a full scholarship to one student from their region every year. It was competitive. Only the brightest children were considered. Zara's father had almost refused. "The girl needs us here," he said quietly, thinking of the family chores and the business of firewood and corn. Her mother shook her head. "No, Kiki. She was born to do more than this. She will learn. She will shine. Let her go." And so they sent her. The test day was brutal. Children from richer families had tutors. They had books their whole lives. Zara had scraps of paper, old worn notebooks, and her sharp mind. She answered every question with care, every calculation precise, every essay neat. Her heart pounded, but she did not stop. When the results came, the village celebrated quietly. Zara had won. She had earned the scholarship, the ticket to a school no child from her village had ever attended without money. Mama Z cried. Maziokeke smiled silently, pride in his eyes. Our girl, she will make us proud. At first, Zara felt the weight of the world, a new school, children from richer families, a life she had never touched. Her uniform felt small, her shoes worn, her bag old. She worried she didn't belong. But then she met Gina, and that worry faded, at least a little. Zara's parents never hid their struggles from her. She knew what it meant to work hard. She knew what it meant to earn every coin, every meal, every small joy. The scholarship was not just a ticket to school. It was proof that her hard work and her parents' sacrifices had value. And Zara promised herself she would not waste this chance. She would learn, grow, and prove that no matter where you come from, even a mud house at the edge of a village, you could step into a world built for others and shine. Zara walked nervously through the big gates of Bright Star Academy. Her sandals were old, her uniform faded, and her bag looked like it had been through too many hands. She was the new scholarship student, poor, from the edge of the village, and this school felt like another world. Then, a shiny black car stopped. Out stepped Gina, the richest girl in school, daughter of the village's wealthiest man. Her shoes were clean, her bag neat, her hair perfect. Every student around her whispered her name. But Gina didn't look at the crowds. She saw Zara, standing alone, holding her bag tight, looking small and unsure. Gina smiled and walked over. "Hi, is this your first day?" she asked. Zara nodded. "You look like someone who might run back home," Gina joked. Zara laughed nervously. "I'll show you your classroom," Gina said, leading the way. For the first time, Zara felt a little safe. She was still poor, still different, but now she had someone by her side. And that was how Zara met Gina, her soon-to-be best friend. From the moment Zara stepped into the school, she knew life had changed. She was from the edge of the village. Her home was mud walls and thatched roof. She had no wealth, no fancy clothes, no shiny shoes. And here, in this school, everyone else did. But then there was Gina. Gina, the only child of the village's wealthiest man, had noticed Zara the first day. She didn't just see a poor girl. She saw someone who needed a hand. "Come sit here," Gina said on the first day, moving her bag to make space. "You're not a mosquito, just sit." And Zara had. From that moment, Gina became her shield. Other students quickly noticed Zara's difference. Some laughed at her shoes, some whispered about her old bag, some even tried to make fun of her accent. But Gina didn't let anyone touch her. "She's my sister," Gina would say, voice sharp like a spear. Anyone who dared tease Zara quickly learned that Gina was not someone to mess with. She was strong, quick with her words, clever, and she had the confidence of someone who owned the world. Because, in a way, she did. One day, a boy tried to snatch Zara's pencil case and make fun of her torn uniform. Gina swooped in, stood in front of Zara, and raised her hand. "You touch her again, and you will regret it." Her classmates froze. Even the boy, who thought he could intimidate Zara, took a step back. From that moment, the other students stopped bothering Zara. It wasn't just the fear, it was respect. Gina was known in school as the girl who could defend herself and anyone she cared for. Every day, Gina included Zara in everything. Group work, games, classroom activities, even small competitions. She made sure Zara's voice was heard. She laughed with her, shared her food, shared her notes, shared her secrets. Zara began to feel strong too. Not because she suddenly had wealth, not because she had fancy things, but because someone believed in her. Someone who would stand up when she was weak. Someone who made the world a little safer for her, if only for a moment. It wasn't just protection, it was friendship. Gina sometimes invited Zara home. Zara had never seen anything like Gina's compound. It had painted gates, flowers, soft mats, goats and chickens roaming freely. Inside, shelves of books, toys, and food that never ran out. And yet, Gina never acted superior. She never reminded Zara she was rich. She didn't boast. She simply said, "This is your place too. When you are here, this is home." And Zara felt like a queen walking on the clay paths of the rich compound, holding her bag, still slightly nervous but safe. Anyone who tried to make Zara feel small quickly remembered Gina's sharp words and strong presence. Zara began to smile more, laugh more, speak more. She even started sharing her thoughts in class without fear. And when she got an answer right, Gina would clap for her, proud as if she had done it herself. "See," Gina would say with a grin, "I told you, you can do this." They ate together, walked together, studied together, laughed together. Village kids whispered about them. The rich girl and the poor scholarship girl, twins from different worlds. And in a way, they were. But Zara didn't care. For the first time in her life, she felt she had someone on her side. Someone strong, someone fearless, someone who believed in her. And Gina, she loved it. Loved it because Zara was clever, funny, kind, and brave in ways Gina had never met before. Gina didn't just see Zara's poverty, she saw her heart. And in the small village school, where differences could make or break a child, Gina made sure Zara was never broken. Because even if life at home was hard, at school, she was strong. Not alone, not weak. And that strength, that courage had a name, Gina. The day of graduation was the most exciting day in the village. Zara woke early, brushing her hair carefully, tying her worn but clean uniform and clutching her bag. She was nervous, not because of the ceremony, but because today the whole village would see what she had accomplished. Bright Star Academy's hall was buzzing. Students in neat uniforms lined the steps. Parents and guardians filled the seats. The air was thick with excitement and pride. Zara and Gina sat together, as usual. Gina was radiant, her smile wide. Her father's presence made the hall feel even bigger. People whispered about how lucky Gina was. Only child, rich, beautiful, clever, and now graduating with honors. When the awards were called, Zara's name was announced. She walked to the stage, her heart pounding. Every step reminded her of her mother roasting corn, her father carrying firewood, the mud house at the edge of the village. She took her certificate, smiled at the crowd, and returned to her seat. After the ceremony, Gina's father decided to host a small celebration at their compound. The yard was decorated with colorful fabrics. Guests from nearby villages came to congratulate Gina and her family. The smell of roasted meat and jollof rice filled the air. Children ran around, playing and laughing. Zara followed Gina into the crowd, trying to not be too noticeable. She was the scholarship girl, yes, but here, among the rich and powerful, she still felt like an outsider. Then, Gina's father's friend arrived with his son, Daniel. Tall, charming, handsome, his smile easy, confident, and just a little mischievous. The moment his eyes landed on Gina, it was as if the world paused. And maybe it did. Daniel walked over. "Congratulations," he said, bowing slightly. His voice was smooth. Gina smiled, cheeks tinged with pink. "Thank you," she replied. Zara noticed how Daniel's gaze lingered on Gina, how he listened carefully, laughed at her jokes, and followed every move. It was love at first sight. But for Zara, it was something else, something she didn't expect. She felt a flicker of jealousy. Not at Gina's beauty, she had always admired that, but at the attention, the way Daniel seemed to orbit around her best friend, the way everything seemed to come easily to Gina. Zara smiled to hide it, laughed when Gina laughed, and tried to enjoy the celebration. But in the back of her mind, she couldn't shake the thought, why does it always look so easy for her? Gina noticed Zara's quiet tension and squeezed her hand. "Relax, it's a celebration. Enjoy it," she whispered. Zara nodded, though inside her mind spun. By the end of the day, everyone was eating, talking, and celebrating. Daniel stayed near Gina. The village elders commented on how fine he was, how perfect a match for her. Zara watched quietly. She smiled when Gina smiled, laughed when Gina laughed, but she also felt a small seed of envy plant itself in her heart. Because she had never had anything come so easily, she had to fight, struggle, and walk to reach even the first step. And now she was seeing it all for the first time. Wealth, admiration, love, all at once. Zara promised herself she would not let that seed grow too fast, not yet. For now, she would watch, she would learn, and she would stand beside her best friend. But deep down, she felt the first spark of something that could change everything. Something that would test their friendship, their loyalty, and their trust. The handsome stranger named Daniel had entered their lives, and nothing would ever be the same again. After the graduation celebration, the village changed its song. People no longer spoke about school. They now spoke about marriage, success, and destiny. Every elder had an opinion. Every woman had a story. Every young girl had a dream. And in the middle of all that noise stood Gina, glowing like a bride even before she officially became one. Daniel did not waste time. Not long after graduation, he began to show up at Gina's father's compound like an honored guest. Each time he came, he never arrived empty-handed. One day it was wrappers and perfumes. Another day it was shoes and jewelry. Sometimes it was just cooked food in neat baskets and fresh fruits arranged in beautiful plates. The villagers noticed. "Daniel is serious about this girl," they whispered. Gina noticed too. She stood by Gina's side like a loyal shadow, smiling, helping to arrange the gifts, praising Daniel's generosity, and clapping like everyone else. But inside her chest, a fire rested, quiet and dangerous. Every gift reminded Zara of a truth she did not want to swallow. Gina always had more. More love, more opportunities, more comfort, more attention. Zara had worked harder than anyone, suffered more, cried more, gone to bed on empty stomachs more times than she could count. And yet here she was again, watching Gina collect what life handed her freely. She told herself she was being childish. She repeated it again and again, but her heart did not listen. As weeks passed, Daniel's gifts multiplied. Wrappers filled Gina's wardrobe, jewelry boxes stacked like souvenirs. Even Gina's mother joked one evening, "This your husband-to-be will turn our house into a market stall if he continues like this." Everyone laughed. Zara laughed too. But her laughter was grown from envy, not joy. Soon enough, the talk became serious. Bride price discussions quietly started between families. Then, before Zara could fully process it, the wedding date was fixed. The village erupted. "Well done. Our daughter is going to a good home. Daniel is a good man." Zara played her part perfectly. On the wedding day, she tied Gina's wrapper for her. She adjusted her makeup. She whispered encouragement into her ear. She helped her into the marriage hut.
She hugged her, she smiled, she even shed tears, the kind that confused people for happiness and gratitude. Nobody knew the truth. The wedding ended and Gina went to her new home. But Gina did not forget Zara.
She still included her in everything. When Daniel bought new clothes, Gina would send styles to Zara. When he bought perfume, she would spray half on Zara's wrist. When he brought food, she would dish some for Zara first before eating. Gina did not know she was feeding a fire. Zara accepted everything with fake gratitude. "Thank you, my dear. Oh, this one is fine, oh. I'm so happy for you." Inside her, something else grew. She began comparing, not occasionally, every day. She compared Gina's home to her mother's leaking roof. She compared Gina's perfumes to the smoke scent in her clothes. She compared Gina's comfort to her father's aching back from cutting wood. She compared Gina's freedom to her own survival struggle. At night, she would lie on her mat and stare into darkness. "Why is life this unfair?" she whispered. "Did I offend God? Is Gina more human than me?" She felt cursed, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, bitter way, like someone whose destiny arrived without her name. Months passed, then 1 year, one full year of watching Gina live a life Zara believed should also belong to her. 1 full year of pretending joy, 1 full year of forcing smiles, 1 full year of swallowing envy like bitter medicine. And something changed. The jealousy became hunger. She stopped simply envying Daniel. She started wanting him. Not as Gina's husband, as hers. Not because of love, but because she felt cheated by life. She wanted Gina's life the way hungry people want food. Desperately, painfully. One evening, Gina came to visit as usual. She was talking and laughing, showing Zara new wrappers Daniel bought. Then Gina suddenly stood up. "I'll just check something inside. I'll be right back." She dropped her phone beside Zara. The room suddenly felt quiet. Zara stared at the phone. Her heart raced. She knew the code. Gina used her birthday. She did not hesitate. She opened the phone, scrolled, and there it was, Daniel. Just a name, but to Zara, it looked like a door. She copied the number quickly, almost shaking. Gina returned. Zara locked the phone back gently. Nobody noticed anything, but Zara left that evening different. That night, she sat up in her small room with the phone glowing in her face. Her heart was beating like a drum. She typed, deleted, typed again, deleted again. Finally, she sent. "Hi, Daniel. It's Zara. Hope you're doing well." She dropped the phone like it would burn her. Then she waited. It did not take long. "Hello, Zara. I'm fine. How are you?" Her breath caught. He replied. She covered her mouth. She laughed quietly like someone who had just stolen gold. That night, she could not sleep. She felt powerful, wanted, noticed. The next morning, she sent another message, then another the next day, then calls, then longer chats. She laughed with him. She made jokes. She pretended nothing. But inside, her heart was now fully somewhere else. She stopped seeing Gina as her sister. She began seeing her as competition. If Gina ever complained about Daniel, Zara encouraged silence. If Gina ever felt tired, Zara brushed it off. She's lucky. She should be grateful. Many women don't even get this. She was no longer afraid to destroy her. She was just afraid of being poor forever. She watched Daniel closer now. His habits, his weaknesses, his routine. She paid attention. Every detail became useful. She no longer wanted friendship. She wanted replacement. In the beginning, nobody noticed the shift. Not the villagers who passed the compound every day, not the women who fetched water near Gina's house, not the men who greeted Daniel when he walked past. Only Gina noticed. Something was changing in her home. It did not come with noise or shouting. It did not arrive with fights or insults. It came the way sickness enters the body, quietly, slowly, until the symptoms could no longer be ignored. Daniel was no longer the same man. He did not come home early anymore. Where he used to rush back to complain about hunger or talk about his day, now he stayed out later without explanation. He still greeted Gina when he entered the house, but his voice was flat, cold, distant. Gina tried to pretend it was nothing. Maybe he's tired. Maybe something is worrying him. Maybe he's sick. But days passed and nothing changed. She cooked his favorite meals. He barely touched them. She dressed beautifully. He did not notice. She spoke gently. He answered briefly. At night, she lay beside him and stared at the roof, feeling lonely with a man right next to her. She was tired. And when Gina got tired, she went to the only person she trusted, Zara. Zara listened with a face filled with concern. At first, when Gina said, "Daniel hardly talks to me now," Zara replied gently, "Men go through phases." When Gina said, "He doesn't sit with me anymore," Zara answered, "Marriage needs patience." But something changed in Zara's voice a while later. The sympathy faded and something else took its place. When Gina complained the next time, Zara sighed deeply. "Honestly, you should just leave him." Gina froze. "Leave him?" Zara nodded firmly. "A man who makes his wife feel invisible is not husband material." Gina laughed nervously. "You're joking, right?" Zara did not laugh back. "I'm serious." From that day, Zara stopped encouraging patience. Every complaint Gina brought, Zara brought one solution: divorce. "He doesn't love you. He takes you for granted. You deserve better. This marriage is already dead." Gina was confused. She walked home many nights with Zara's words ringing in her ears. "Leave him. Stop suffering. Think of yourself." Gina tried to hold herself together, even when she cried, even when Daniel returned home late again, even when he spoke and walked away. She still loved her husband, but her mind was beginning to crack, and Zara knew it. Meanwhile, Zara's own world was quiet and controlled. She spoke to Daniel every single day. She listened patiently. She made him feel justified. If he complained about Gina, Zara defended him. If she complains too much, she doesn't understand you. If she buys things to show off, she's trying to control you. You deserve peace. She did not scold him. She did not advise him to go home. She made him comfortable. And Daniel visited Zara emotionally, long before he ever visited physically. In his mind, she became his peace, his escape, his comfort. Gina became his burden. Zara fed both sides carefully. Gina got fire, Daniel got water. Gina was encouraged to leave. Daniel was encouraged to stay away. Zara knew what she was doing, and she did it without fear. Gina grew weary. Her smile disappeared. Her confidence reduced. She became quieter. Even the village women noticed. Gina cannot even laugh again. Something is wrong in her home. They spoke, but Gina said nothing. Not at the market, not at the stream, not at ceremonies, only to Zara. And Zara kept saying the same thing: "I would leave if it were me." Each time, Gina's heart shook. Until one night. One night, Daniel returned close to midnight. He removed his shoes and entered the bedroom without greeting. Gina sat up. "Where have you been?" He answered coldly. "At work." She looked at him. "Since when do you work this late every night?" He sighed angrily. "Can you not ask questions for once?" She was silent. He slept. She cried. The next morning, Gina went to Zara. Tears soaked her wrapper. Zara did not wipe them. She crossed her arms. "Why are you still there?" Gina's mouth shook. "I still love him." Zara scoffed. "Love does not suffer like this." Gina heard a crack inside her chest. Something broke that day. Not loudly, but completely. And from that point onward, Gina began to withdraw. She stopped begging Daniel. She stopped cooking his favorites. She stopped trying. Zara had succeeded. Zara watched with quiet pride. Her plan was unfolding. Daniel found excuses to stay away. He grew colder, sharper, more distant. Gina stopped caring. Everything became quiet. Their home felt empty, even with both of them inside. And Zara? Zara smiled. She slept at night with satisfaction. She did not ask God for forgiveness. She did not feel guilt. She only felt close to victory. One evening, Daniel sent her a message. "I don't think my marriage is working." Zara replied, "Some marriages die because one person kills it." Daniel believed her. And from that moment on, the husband stopped being a husband. The wife stopped being a wife. The friend stopped being a friend. And the enemy finished her work. Zara thought she had finally won. Text messages and stolen moments with Daniel had convinced her she was now the one in control. She imagined herself finally living the life Gina had enjoyed. The gifts, the attention, the admiration. But reality hit her like a heavy blow the moment Daniel arrived at her house that evening, empty-handed, as he had so many times before. Again? She whispered to herself, staring at him. No gifts, nothing. Daniel muttered excuses about money and plans, but Zara's heart sank. The comfort and pride she had expected never arrived. She imagined triumph, revenge, and sweet victory, but all she had now was disappointment. The more she waited, the heavier her chest felt. Words alone could not fill the emptiness she had envisioned. Meanwhile, Gina had reached the breaking point. She had watched Daniel change over the past weeks, the avoidance, the cold responses, the lies. One day, Daniel forgot his phone in the house. It buzzed continuously, drawing Gina's attention. Curiosity and a protective instinct made her glance at the screen. And there it was. The messages, the late-night calls, the soft words, the shared secrets. Zara's name appeared again and again, attached to words of affection that had once been meant for Gina. Gina's chest tightened. The world seemed to tilt. She felt shock, betrayal, and hurt all at once. But she did not panic. She had stayed with him through everything, covering his shame when his father's failed business left him broke, hiding his faults and protecting him from gossip. And now, this? Daniel entered the house casually, not noticing the storm brewing in Gina's eyes. "Daniel," she said firmly, her voice steady but full of emotion. "We need to talk." He smirked. "About what?" Gina stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "About Zara. About everything." Daniel's smile faltered. "Don't," Gina interrupted sharply. "I showed those gifts to her so that she would respect you, so that she would see you as the wealthy man who could take care of yourself. I never wanted her to know the truth, that your father's business failed, that you had no money, that I carried everything on my back." Daniel opened his mouth to protest, but Gina continued, voice rising with controlled anger. "I protected you. I covered your shame. I hid your failures from everyone, including her. And this is what you do? Betray me? Betray everything I have done for you?" Daniel's shoulders slumped. He knew there was no excuse, no escape. Gina walked calmly to the door, gathered his clothes, and placed them outside the house. Every shirt, every pair of shoes, every small belonging symbolized the end of their marriage. "Take your life and go," she said quietly, but the words cut deeper than any shouting could. Zara, meanwhile, was facing her own unraveling. The man she had stolen attention from brought no gifts, no wealth, no comfort, but only empty promises. Then came another shock. Zara realized she was pregnant. The life she had thought would elevate her now demanded responsibility. Her victory felt hollow. She had no means to care for herself properly, let alone the child she carried.
Her parents, who had watched her cruelty and manipulation, finally intervened. "You have gone too far, Zara," her father said firmly, his eyes full of disappointment. "We never raised you to treat a friend this way. You cannot continue like this." Her mother nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Go, leave, reflect on what you have done. We will not support this wickedness." Zara packed her belongings silently, her chest heavy. Pride clashed with fear, and the weight of her choices pressed down on her like a stone. Then, a new shock hit her. Her body reminded her she was pregnant. Her victory, she realized, had come at a cost she could never have imagined. The man she had manipulated and stolen attention from had vanished. He ran because he could not support her or the child she now carried. The empty promises and stolen attention were gone, leaving only responsibility and despair. Meanwhile, Gina's life slowly began to mend. Her parents comforted her, embracing their daughter as she cried, letting her release the hurt that had built inside her for months. She realized that losing Daniel, though painful, had freed her from deceit and betrayal.
And then, a man who had quietly admired her from school stepped forward. He was kind, patient, and sincere. He loved her not for her wealth, not for her beauty, but for her character, her strength, and the care she had shown to those around her. He helped her heal. Together, they left the village to study abroad, to build a future full of love and stability, a life Gina had always dreamed of, unshaken by betrayal. Zara stayed behind in the village. She carried her child with no father to support her, no gifts, no comfort, no one to celebrate her achievements. The village watched her struggles, not out of malice. Desperate for redemption, Zara tried to reach Gina. She wanted to apologize, to explain, to reclaim some fragment of her lost friendship. She went to Gina's parents, hoping to get her contact information. But Gina's parents, wise and disappointed, sent her away. "We warned Gina about bringing someone like you into her life," they said sternly. "We told her to be careful with someone who is not on her level, someone who does not have what she has. Jealousy would always follow. Gina took you in as a sister, and this is where it landed her. We cannot help you now." Zara left their home in silence, her chest heavy with regret. The village had already begun to turn away from her. People avoided her in whispers and sideways glances. She lived alone, carrying the burden of her choices, the shadow of her shame growing heavier each day. After she gave birth, her parents went to take the child from her. They said, "We cannot let the innocent suffer for the mistakes of their parents." With tears and pleas, they removed the child from her care. Zara watched, powerless, holding only the bitter lesson of her actions. Meanwhile, Gina's life flourished. She healed from the betrayal, surrounded by the love and support of her parents and her husband abroad. Taking what does not belong to you brings only regret. Every day she thought of Gina, the friend she had betrayed, the life she had tried to steal, the dignity she had destroyed. And in her heart, the bitter lesson settled like a weight she could never lift. Not everything you steal is a blessing. Zara had chased desire and jealousy, and in the end, she had nothing but the consequence of her choices. Gina, on the other hand, had lost a husband but gained herself, real love, and a future unburdened by deceit. The village whispered, watching both women's paths, understanding the harsh but timeless truth. Envy may tempt you, but life always balances itself.